Time to get more with Geico, and today is the biggest day for mandatory minicamps in the NFL. Look at all these teams starting up today, including all the favorites in the AFC. Two-time defending champion Chiefs. We've got the Ravens, you got the Bills, and you got the Cincinnati Bengals. But Cincy beginning without one of their top wide receivers. No T. Higgins, who's missing in action. He was franchise tagged this offseason, wants a new contract. Jamar Chase, though, his counterpart, also wants a new deal, is there. Let's bring in our NFL vets, Bryant, McFadden, and Brady Quinn joining us here. Brady, Higgins is the only player who got the tag that has not gotten a long-term deal yet. How do the Bengals handle this situation right now?
It's a complicated situation. It's one in which you've got two guys at the same position who are both looking for new deals. The difference here is T. Higgins isn't subject to fines because he hasn't signed his franchise tender yet. So this had to have been expected. And the tougher part, too, is the fact that not just trying to create enough cash, enough cap space to be able to sign both Higgins long-term and Jamar Chase, along with Burrow, who they signed with a year ago, but it's really the fact that he's not coming off his best season. It'd be one thing if T. Higgins was coming off his best year of his career and he had this ascending kind of relationship, production-wise, statistics-wise. That's not the case. So that makes things a little bit more complicated. I wouldn't be shocked if they just didn't go through this season with T. Higgins under the franchise tag if they're going to pay one. Jamar Chase, who's the wide receiver who did decide to show up. And even though he's got 2 years left on his deal, I think they'll find a way of getting it done. But the other side of this conversation is if he didn't show up, he would be subject to fines. So kind of expected from both these players, but unfortunately only one of the guys is going to get the long-term contract when it's all said and done, B-Mac.
Yeah, right on, Brady. I'm not surprised to see Jamar Chase there, mini camps, because, of course, you don't want to get fined when you're still under contract. You talked about the tag that allows T. Higgins to be away from the team throughout these mini camp practices and won't get fined. But this is a very, very difficult position to be in for Cincinnati because everything you hit on, Brady, you're dead on. T. Higgins didn't have the best productive year, but we know what type of skill set he has at the wide receiver position. And if you look at the wide receiver market, I mean, it has been inflated tremendously when you look at the per year salaries from the more recent deals that we've seen being handed out to these outstanding playmakers that play the wide receiver position. So I think the reality with this situation is that T. Higgins probably will play under the franchise tag, and I think they're going to invest all of their marbles into Jamar Chase, who has 2 years remaining on his current rookie deal, to potentially get him that record-breaking deal that he's seeking. He's younger. We know both players are very, very good, but if you had to pick one or the other, Jamar Chase is wide receiver one for this team. So factoring in and understanding and knowing what the market is, it's hard to imagine the Cincinnati Bengals being able to pay both wide receivers, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, top wide receiver dollars. So they got to pick and choose, and I think they may pick Jamar Chase and just allow T. Higgins to play 2024 under the tag.
Yeah, Brady, how do you think Justin Jefferson's $35 million a year contract is going to affect what they do with Jamar Chase?
It definitely will play a role, right? Former college teammates, I'm sure they're probably ribbing each other on the side. And I think the thing that actually benefits Jamar Chase as compared to Justin Jefferson, who is pressing free agency more, is the fact that he does have 2 years left on his deal. So the Bengals, I'm sure, have been doing some cap planning, preparing for this. When the deal is going to be announced, the new money average is the money we're going to hear. We're not going to hear as much about what the total value of the contract is, considering he's got the remaining 2 years on his deal. If you go back and look at Joe Burrow's extension, for example, they kept tacked on that final year, or at least one of the years of his rookie deal, before it really started to escalate. I would imagine the structure will be very similar with Jamar Chase's, where they'll keep a year or two of that rookie deal as part of this, give him a big signing bonus, and then they'll extend out after his rookie year is then done to be able to create that total value of the contract that equates to that average annual value somewhere close or surpassing Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, when you talk about Justin Jefferson, it's all about the timing of the deal. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the National Football League, no argument there. When it comes to record-breaking deals, it's about the timing of the deal. Jamar Chase is younger than Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase has had similar, success in a different organization, and he means a lot to this team. So when you factor in the deal that he is chasing, no question, he's chasing his former collegiate teammate when it comes to the financial terms. And I think he will be very, very close to what Justin Jefferson just received. We don't know exactly when this deal will happen, but you better believe Cincinnati, they understand and they know how much Ja'Marr Chase means to their organization, and they're going to find every way possible to get a big-time deal done because he's deserving of seeing that.
Bengals did lose Tyler Boyd, but they drafted Alabama's Jermaine Burton this season. Let's move on to BMAC's former team, the Steelers. They announced that 3-year extension for Mike Tomlin yesterday. He's entering his 18th season with the Steelers, longest tenured coach in the league, and his longest tenured player, Cam Heyward's heading into his 14th season there. BMAC entering the final year of his deal. He wants a new one, but how do you navigate that with a guy who's 35?
Who is 35, and he had a lot, well, he missed time because of injuries a year ago. So when you factor that into the equation and you're a bit older in the tooth, this is a tough situation because they love Cam Heyward. I mean, Cam Heyward played with me. Think about that. Cam Heyward played with me. And Chris, you don't have to laugh. It wasn't that funny, okay? I'm just saying that longevity is something that Cam Heyward has been able to hang his hat on. But he's still been very, very productive. But coming off an injury-plagued year, wasn't at his best. The numbers were not there. But he believes, and I do believe as well, he's still one of the top interior defensive linemen in the National Football League. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and knowing where he is in his career, what do you do? I think Pittsburgh find a way to get something done because they value him on and off the football field. He's a big-time locker room presence, the leadership. So maybe a 2-year type extension to be able to get him closer to what that market is with interior defensive linemen to keep him happy because he is deserving. And I'll say this. Yes, Cam is older. He's around, 35, as you mentioned, Chris. If he is healthy, he's going to be productive. He is so technically sound. He plays with proper fundamentals, and he just understands the Steelers' way when it comes to interior defensive linemen. So I visualize maybe a 2-year extension, but hopefully they can meet the terms of Cam Heyward because you would love to have Cam Heyward being a part of this team this season with a smile on his face.
All right, let's go on to a younger offensive lineman, a defensive lineman. Let's go to Haason Reddick. The Jets went out and traded for him. Reports that he told the Jets that he would attend all activities even without a new deal. Brady, what do you think about this as he does not show up for mandatory minicamp?
It's hard to read into the reports, but again, I just go back to the beginning of this trade is how, if you're the Jets, do you not have a deal in place upon his arrival? It doesn't make much sense to think that he was going to play for, $15 million, I think is the total compensation for this year, considering he's had a minimum of 11 sacks each of the last 4 seasons. He's been entirely healthy the last 3 seasons, and he's one of the better edge rushers. And let's not forget, too, if you're the Jets, this is a huge need for a team that they gave up Bryce Huff, who was a budding edge rusher and had a lot of upside, I think. That was a younger player that they could have used. And now with Aaron Rodgers there, 100% healthy, expecting him to be the quarterback. If you're a team that's going to be playing from in front with a bunch of leads, you better have that edge rusher there. He's going to be chasing down opponents who are trying to throw their way back into the game. So it's still surprising he's not there considering he hasn't got the new deal. This, to me, though, blame should be on the side of the Jets. I don't care what was said beforehand when Haason Reddick first got traded. The reality of the situation is they should have never let it get to this point when they made the trade for Haason Reddick, knowing that he was going to want an extension and a long-term deal based on his production the last 4 seasons.
Well said, Brady. This is all on the Jets. This is all on Joe Douglas and his staff because when you were entertaining or having the conversations with Haason Reddick's agents or whoever is representing him, you should have already had something in place. Listen, we make this move. This is what we have in place with his contract. Do you agree or not? Are you okay with that? If you're okay, let's make it happen. Let's get this extension done because what happens now is Haason Reddick, I think he's slated around $14 million this year, $15 million, whatever the case may be. Number one, he's underpaid. He understands that. And since this move has happened, guess what? Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars got paid. He's seen $30 million this year. Carolina traded for Brian Burns. They paid him. He's seen around $28 million per year. So if you're Haason Reddick, you look at those deals from those 2 players. Oh, by the way, the last 2 seasons, Haason Reddick has outperformed Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's outperformed Brian Burns of the New York Giants when you look at the sacks the last 2 seasons. So this is a very, very difficult situation to be in with the Jets because their defensive line, that's the anchor for their defense. They love to rotate players in the interior, and when it comes to the edge rushing spots for them as well. So depth is something they lean on week in and week out. And if you put Haason Reddick on this defense along with Jermaine Johnson, that's a nice duo of pass rushers. But right now he's disgruntled, and I don't know when this thing would play out or clear out for Haason Reddick unless they decide to pay him top dollar when you look at the edge rushing position.
Also, no Aaron Rodgers today at Jets camp, an unexcused absence that head coach Robert Saleh said he was told about, an event that Rodgers wants to attend. But again, unexcused. Saleh doesn't seem very concerned about that. Let's move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who kind of got all their ducks in a row in the offseason. They re-signed all their top-name veterans. But Tristan Wirfs is at camp, though he's not participating in drills. Expected to be a hold-in because he wants a new deal. Brady, is he going to reset the market for offensive linemen, you think?
I believe he's going to, and you're seeing a lot of players utilize the hold-in scenario so they don't get subject to those fines given he's still on his rookie deal. But Tristan Wirfs, at the age of 25 years old, after 4 seasons, has put himself in position to be the top paid tackle in the NFL. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. And as most people know in the dating scene, Amanda will tell you this, the best ability is availability. And he's only missed 4 games throughout his first 4 years, too, for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So he's one of those cornerstones that you drafted. He's turned it into the player that you'd hoped he's going to be. And he's set to reset the market at the tackle position in the NFL.
Brady, Quinn, and Bryant McFadden with us on HQ. A little bit later, we're going to look a little bit closer at the AFC North and get some futures from Sportsline's Mackenzie Brooks. The season begins September 8th on CBS and Paramount Plus. We are within 3 months of the first NFL Sunday.